Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sick of your little nonsense mouth running.
Yes, Your Honor.
You a tall glass of nothing. Sitting up here clowning in this courtroom today, clapping and smiling, acting like a buffoon.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy, just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Let us find out more.
Ms. Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Reinhardt, you state that Ms. Crow is a liar and a manipulator.
It's always difficult to get through a case where the alleged father is dead because we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows, or what she thinks she knows.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not talked to him about his father, or have you?
I have.
You have?
Actually, when my son was first born and he was, just a few months old.
It's nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone, but I'm curious to find out the rest of the story. How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there is only one way to find out.
Looking at that picture,
I understand.
my son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out, and I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own, my gut tells me this is not my grandson.
It looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She is totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why? How could she possibly be so sure?
We had, became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's the father. I did not sleep with anybody else in that time. When I was with him, to me, there's no other option.
Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. 2 people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Ms. Crow's story is quite convincing.
He told him the sky was purple.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic, and he had stress seizures.
And I took care of him.
And my son,
I didn't leave him because of that.
Mom. And she could have told him she was pregnant. That's his baby.
So you're saying he did not have the discernment to even say, I don't believe that's my baby?
No.
Now this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandchildren is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
He has a silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, there are things about him that are a lot like me, but at the same time, you cannot deny that. That's his father.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt?
To my understanding.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please cut to the chase and be serious for once? This is no joking matter. This grandma needs to understand that the case is more serious than this.
He told everybody that we would come across, friends, even people we didn't know. He had conversations with, she's pregnant with my baby. He's really happy, he's excited. He never denied my child. And I knew for a fact that, he's the father because I haven't been with anybody else. I was only with him in that time frame.
Ms. Crow made a good choice in breaking up with JC for the safety of herself and her 2 other kids. But how come nobody mentioned these kids until now? guess they're not so relevant to the case.
My boyfriend, that's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And you know, I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son. My son has the right to know, and Jay has, you know, health issues, and we need to know about your health history for your family, because what if it can help my son when he gets older?
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
I took care of my
I guess the question then becomes, why is your pursuit different in death than it was in life?
What?
Meaning, after the death, you had the means, the time, the wherewithal, the initiative to find the benefits, find the DNA. You want your child to know his father.
Now that is one tough question. You broke up with the man, and he only hung out with his son once. You had 9 months before he passed, but didn't do anything until you saw his obituary?
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't contacted.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
Supposedly the alleged father, not.
It don't have to be alleged because we're gonna find out today.
So
You're gonna
listen.
see for yourself.
Yes, we are.
Yes, and then I can let my scab. I can let my scab build back up.
Because it's all about you, right? It's about my son.
It is glaring how much these two women can't stand themselves. And it is sad, because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
How do you lose track of him?
That's your son.
He was mad with me because he believed that I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. I was the one making sure he had a...
But when she left and he was evicted,
he had a
and I was there and he had no money, he didn't have nowhere to go. I paid for him a place to stay.
Good question, because we can't push all the blame on Ms. Crow. Ms. Reinhardt was his mother at the end of the day. And if indeed he had the mental capacity of a 16-year-old, how did she leave him all alone?
This is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
he's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old, only seen his father one time, and the mother and the grandmother are at odds.
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say, so Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. Please read the results out, Judge Lake, and let us resolve this case once and for all.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6% you are related. That is your grandchild. Ms. Reinhardt, you have never laid eyes on your grandchild.
Ms. Hadnot here is completely convinced that Mr. Mathews' wife is the reason why he's denying the paternity of her child. She also says that Ms. Mathews was once her best friend, but once she told her that Mr. Mathews had impregnated her, she also went ahead and got pregnant by Mr. Mathew and then married him. They opened their case like this.
Mr. Mathews, you claim you have doubts about being the biological father of Ms. Hadnot's son because you say she has a reputation for sleeping around. Now, you state that you and your wife hope to put an end to your connection with her when today's results are revealed.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Hadnot, tell me how this even came to be. So, at first, you were in a relationship with Mr. Mathews.
Then Mr. Mathews confirms that he had a sexual relationship with Ms. Hadnot. He then says that he and his wife were best friends before that. But Ms. Hadnot doesn't agree with this version of events at all.
How long were you?
Just that
How
one
long?
time.
Just that one time?
Yes.
Mr. Mathews?
Yes, ma'am.
So you first had an intimate relationship with Ms. Hadnot.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you started one with Ms. Mathews,
Well, me and
her best friend.
we've been me and my wife been best friends before that.
Your Honor,
She
he
knew.
said they was cousins. Ma'am, both of them.
Wait a minute, they told you they were cousins?
Yes, she
No.
said they was cousins living in the
Excuse me.
same house.
This seems to support Ms. Hadnot's point. She was in a relationship with Mr. Mathews, got pregnant by him, and then Miss Mathews got into the picture. That's the problem here. Can you imagine how betrayed Ms. Hadnot must have felt when she found out that her best friend was having a baby by her baby daddy?
You immediately knew it was Mr. Mathews?
I slept with another dude. I can admit that. But I also,
And
when Jay never
and
asked
how many
me,
days apart did you sleep with this other man?
Oh well, Ms. Hadnot. It looks like it's scientifically impossible to be sure of who the father of this child is, but Ms. Hadnot doesn't want to accept this. She says she knows who she slept with and is certain the father of her child is Mr. Mathews.
She's a gold digger.
So you not only felt like she could have, well, she did sleep with the guy she admits to, you said could be some other people too that she's not admitting to.
Well, if she didn't tell me about that, what else secrets are under the closet? Straight to the point, I want to know if this son is my son.
What is that doubt based on?
From her mother calling me at the hospital.
Okay then, Mr. Mathews. You're a straight shooter. I like that. Mr. Mathews also says that he doubts he's the child's father because he was only called to the hospital after the baby had been born. And not only was he called after the birth, but Ms. Hadnot didn't call him herself.
You told me you had slept with another
You didn't
man.
ask.
I'm supposed to know.
I wasn't it. You was a one-night stand, and that's what it was.
Yeah, well, so obviously if I was a one-night stand, who else was a one-night stand? So that's why I have doubt.
I knew that she was pregnant because, like I said, we were friends. We were close. We lived together. We spent most of our time together and everything.
Mrs. Mathews, do you know how unlikely and impossible it is to sleep with someone without protection mistakenly? Mistakenly get pregnant, mistakenly having that baby, and then mistakenly marry them? There's no way you didn't mean that. Nobody can make that many mistakes at a stretch.
My everything. I was there for Terry through all her stuff. Her grandma, through everything. When her grandpa, all that, I was there for Terry.
She was.
No matter what I did and what I did wrong, and she still
And I
slept
was,
with
and
him.
I was always there.
Ms. Terry Mathews is the sort of friend you never want to have. She might wake up one day and mistakenly set your house on fire, and then come to court and say it was all an innocent mistake, and that she didn't mean to pour gasoline on your roof.
Ms. Hadnot, your best friend comes to you and says, I'm pregnant by the same guy too? What did you think?
To tell you the truth, Your Honor, and I told her straight up, you know what? You can have that, because I never wanted him.
So what was the big deal in the workplace? You never wanted me. You pushed me
It
away
don't matter.
since
That
high
was my
school.
best friend.
Mr. Mathews is just acting obtuse here. Does he really think that Ms. Mathews and Ms. Hadnot were going to remain best friends after he got them both pregnant? How would that even work? Now, to make things worse, Ms. Mathews tells Mr. Mathews that Ms. Hadnot's baby might not be his.
His doubt. Never, not once, denied or said that Jamari was not James' son. I get on James when he get to getting his feelings about his doubts. And I'll get to saying, James, let's go get Jamari. Let's do this and let's do that. I push that. I'm the one that goes to the door, picks up Jamari, and does that stuff.
Do it.
I've never done.
And come tell me himself.
Well, the
It
type
shouldn't
of
have to go through Terry.
type of
When he
environment they got,
wants
I'm trying to stay out
He
of
don't
trouble.
even call and ask for my son.
Horrible, horrible behavior from Mr. Mathews. And it gets worse because the 4-year-old in question is old enough to ask serious questions about his father.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, obviously-
He's an innocent child. He didn't do nothing to James or to Terry.
You grew up without your
I didn't
father.
have my father at all while I was growing up, at all, or my mother. So I don't want my son to not have his father. He's supposed to have both of his parents. We need to learn how to get along for Jamari, no matter what. No matter who I'm with, and no matter if he with Terry. We gotta get along.
That's right. There's no reason an innocent child should be suffering because of the mistakes adults make. At this point, you sort of feel sorry for Ms. Hadnot and may think that the child is Mr. Mathews' biological son. Anyway, it's time to see what the DNA results say about all of this.
Mr. Mathews, you are the father.
Thank you. I told you. I hate you, I promise.
Okay, you can hate
I'm
me.
done. I don't want my son to be around you.
Hold on. Now, Ms. Hadnot, you just stood here and said that you want to break the cycle. You didn't have a
broke it.
father in your life.
Yes.
Ms. Hilburn claimed to be caught in a love triangle, and the result of that ended with her giving birth to her 10-month-old daughter. The defendant, Mr. Barnes, claimed he caught her with another man on Valentine's Day and is determined to prove he is not the father of the child. This was how the case began.
Which you say resulted in the birth of your 10-month-old daughter, Saray. But you're here to prove she is the defendant's baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Barnes, you claim that you discovered Miss Hilburn was cheating on you on Valentine's Day. Your relationship ended, but soon after giving Miss Hilburn another chance, you discovered she was still sleeping with the other man.
Mr. Barnes seems like a really good dad. Being there for everything just makes you want to have him as a dad. Now, how did it all go wrong with this sweet dad and Ms. Hilburn? Well, this was the next mind-blowing thing that came out of Mr. Barnes's mouth.
I couldn't be because she is still legally married, so I was not able to be put on her.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to say that, so she's still legally married to someone
Yes, Your Honor.
else.
And I would want more than anything to actually be her father. I was there, I've put the time, the commitment, the love.
Wow, let's just say Ms. Hilburn has been one busy woman, jumping from one man to the next. Now I understand why she calls it a love triangle. Here's where things get even more complicated. Mr. Hilburn had no idea she was sleeping with another man.
Oh, Your Honor, it was always done while I was at work, so I had no idea. So the night before Valentine's Day, which is the first time it happened, I was at work. She said she's going to her friends. Okay, fine, go ahead. I get home, I try texting her, try calling her, no response. So whatever, I go to sleep. The next day, Miss Hilburn and the other gentleman come back to the house. They're brought by the people that they stayed with.
Wait, what? They were all living together? At this point, one can only ask if the situation is going to get any messier than this. Seeing that it's one hell of a mess, Judge Lauren decides to ask Ms. Hilburn how they got themselves into such a messy situation. Well, this is what she had to say about that.
Are you sleeping with both of them while you live in the house with both of them, Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, I was.
So, I'm not trying to give anyone tips, but how did you pull that off? How?
He would go to work. As soon as he left, me and the other guy would have sex.
Wow. Did both guys know you were with the other one?
Not all the time, they didn't.
Damn, that has to hurt. I can't believe she just said that to Mr. Barnes's face. I wonder what kind of lies she was feeding him. Oh well, that was not the craziest thing about this situation. They are both still sleeping with each other. To make things even more insane, she's pregnant with the other guy she was sleeping with.
Mr. Barnes, are you still intimate with Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, ma'am, but we use condoms.
Ms. Hilburn, are you also still with the other guy?
Yes, and 5 months after this baby was born, I became pregnant again.
Oh, so you're pregnant now?
Yes, 7 months.
You're pregnant right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Even Judge Lauren is out of words because what the hell is going on? She doesn't even know who the father of her unborn child could be. Wow. Now, when Ms. Hilburn found out she was pregnant, she claimed she told Mr. Barnes first, and this was how he reacted.
I told Mr. Barnes first. He said that he wanted to see the proof because there had been other times that I lied to him about being pregnant. So I took the paper to him and showed that I was pregnant, and he was happy because he wanted to be a father.
Okay, so even though she lied before about being pregnant.
I mean, you can see it on his face. Mr. Barnes's heart is broken beyond repair. What even hurts him the most is the fact that he loves the child so much. He goes on to tell the judge how devastating it would be if the results revealed that he was not the biological father of the child.
It would devastate me. I was there from day one. You know, the fact that she might not be mine, it hurts.
And I regret it. I really do.
Ms. Hilburn, there's a part of me that wants to believe you regret it, and yet you find yourself in the exact same situation again. I don't know how much more difficult a life lesson has to be.
Another blow to his heart. The poor man would wish he had never met Ms. Hilburn in his entire life. But things take another wild turn in the courtroom. Apparently, Mr. Barnes has a girlfriend with whom he claims to also be in love. Trust me, this is the craziest case ever.
Ms. Hilburn and Mr. Barnes, his girlfriend, the guy you're sleeping with, that's all the players.
Yes.
So, Mr. Barnes, you got a girlfriend.
Yes, I do.
Does she know about this relationship?
She suspects, but when you don't see your girlfriend for 7 months, you don't see her, what else are you supposed to do?
I think we've seen enough of this crazy couple. It just keeps going from bad to the absolute worst. Anyway, the results are in. It is time to see if Mr. Barnes is going to end up as the father of the child.
Mr. Barnes, you are not Saray's father. Mr. Barnes, you are not the father.
Still not going to change anything for the fact of Saray.
Mr. Johnson says that Ms. Owen tricked him into signing his son's birth certificate. Currently, he does not believe baby Dakari is his, but he earnestly wishes that he is. Ms. Owens always believed that it was his baby. However, she sees a semblance between a 4-year-old baby, Dakari, and her ex, Mr. Tyson, now passed.
You two were in a relationship, am I correct?
Yes.
You got pregnant? He was at the hospital. Mr. Johnson was at the hospital.
And I paid for him to come to the hospital. I bought his ticket. I paid for him to come back.
Where's all this coming from, though, man?
And I paid for him to go to Chicago
So
live with his daddy. That was $108.
Hold on.
She went on to sleep with another man? although she was in a relationship? Then she goes on to say that she was in love with Mr. Johnson, and that explains why she did not realize that there could possibly be another father. Apparently, all her focus was on Mr. Johnson.
You signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I did.
He ain't do nothing else. That's all he
And
did.
you were living
I was living there with her. Once I came there with her, you know, I was paying for everything. I was paying to go back and forth to the doctor visits.
He did not pay. He ain't never been to one of my doctor visits with me, never in life.
Oh, now she says she's a woman and would not be referred to by anything else? Let's all play the petty card then. Ms. Owens called Mr. Johnson Little One numerous times in court today. He flipped the coin and called her a girl one time, and she is not having any of it. More so, who do we believe if these two are saying different things?
To learn from you how you found out the unfortunate news that Mr. Tyson had passed away.
I was calling a friend in job for her, seeing how she was doing, and that's when she had told me that she see him on the news and he just got killed. And
wow, that's unfortunate. And at the time she told you, you still had in your mind this could potentially be your child's father.
So from the very beginning, she really did believe Mr. Johnson was the father? No wonder he feels so betrayed now. How do you tell someone he's been the father of your baby for 4 years, then out of the blue, you switch things up on the resemblance card?
Or did you say to yourself, oh my goodness, this could be my child's father that passed away?
Your Honor, like I said, it was never in my mind that he was my baby daddy. This little fella was in my mind, okay?
How could that not be in your mind?
These two having a serious conversation is almost like a joke. Even Judge Lake has a problem with getting a word in. Now, Mr. Johnson is extremely bothered by the fact that Ms. Owens did have intercourse with another man, but is making it seem like she forgot about that or something.
All of this, little one, have a seat. You're not making anybody look bad except yourself.
You up here talking to me?
No, I'm addressing him next.
Oh.
No. Let's get this straight. I address what I want to address in the order I want to address it.
You go, Judge. Judge Lake is back with her school bus, this time taking both the mother and potential father to school and right back to paternity court. In the middle of all this, Ms. Owens keeps trying to be dramatic. This time, maybe you should sit down instead, Ms. Owens.
I don't want him up here acting like you or you. I don't want him acting like either one of you. You are a terrible example to your child of what a respectful human being acts like. Clowning in here. And a child sitting up here and don't know if his father's here or in a grave. You clowning.
Now we're talking. All of that bickering to Judge Lake, it looked like we were never going to leave court today. For such a long time, they're completely losing sight of what's most important right now, and that's finding Dakari's paternity.
May of 2009, on the Detroit East Side, Alexis, shortly after that my son might be, I would like for him to be my grandson, and I have something from my son.
It's impossible to imagine how Ms. Williams is feeling right now. To genuinely want Dakari to be her grandchild because it would mean that a piece of her son remains with her shows how much her son meant to her. Bless his soul.
Mr. Johnson, you are not his father.
There it is. There it is. Right there. I already knew it from the beginning, though, man. All thing she had to do was come out and tell me.
Oh my goodness. The pain Mr. Johnson must be trying to hide right now is insane. To think that Dakari has Mr. Johnson's last name too. Imagine having a child for 4 years and then having that ripped away from you. Let's find out if there is a third paternity option nobody knows about.
Of relatedness is 99.99%. Ms. Williams, you got your wish?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Mr. Hartfield is in court today with his wife to prove that the child his mistress claims is his isn't. The mistress, Ms. Streeter, says he's only denying the child to save his marriage. Well, let us see how true that is.
Streeter, you claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Hartfield is only denying the child in order to save his marriage. Mr. Hartfield, you say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not the father of Ms. Streeter's child.
It's husband and wife against the mistress today. Although Mr. Hartfield admits to cheating, he doesn't believe he is the father of Ms. Streeter's child because she has multiple sexual partners. Well, let's get more details about the case.
Mr. Hartfield asked me to have a baby with him. We were dating for about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship, a committed relationship with just me and him. And throughout the whole relationship, he wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his. So we went to the hospital and we got the birth control taken out together. We went together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies.
We already know this is going to be a heated episode. Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield directly asked her to carry his child, but he's outrightly denying it, saying she's mixing him up with someone else.
What point did you discover he was married? Let's get to that.
He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, then that's when I seen pictures of them. And I didn't even call her right away because he had told me, like, them pictures are old, she's professional, and for her image.
Each party claims the other person is lying, and we no longer know who to believe. Ms. Streeter still insists they were in a committed relationship for 8 months and that the pregnancy was intentional. But Mr. Hartfield says the story is false.
46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield, what game are you playing with a 22-year-old girl? No. I want to understand, what game is this you feel like you need to play with a 22-year-old girl where your line is, I'm horny?
Mr. Hartfield is more than twice Ms. Streeter's age. Wow. Now he's saying he plays her silly games because she blackmails him, and if he doesn't, she'll report him to his wife. It seems like Mr. Hartfield really cares about this marriage of his. Why then did he cheat?
Dominique deals with so many guys, okay? She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your time.
That's not true. That's not true.
Because
did Ms. Streeter just say he told her he would marry her? What was she thinking? Believing him? Mr. Hartfield thinks she chose him to fill the role of her baby daddy because, out of her many sexual partners, she thought he was the richest. Now, that's crazy.
In on all of these details and the fact he's still texting this 22-year-old young woman?
No, he did not.
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message.
A random text message that says,
Mrs. Hartfield is not happy. One would have thought the marriage was perfect with how her husband kept rambling about trying to save it. He doesn't even take care of the kids from his marriage. It now makes sense why he insists Ms. Streeter's child is not his.
Hartfield, you're a married man, but you're on this child's original birth certificate.
No, well, the name is printed. There's no signature of mine.
So at first you allowed your name to be printed?
They did that while I wasn't there, Your Honor.
This is the first copy before he took off the name.
Mr. Hartfield, you're saying it didn't go like this?
It didn't.
After the baby was born, Mr. Hartfield originally signed the birth certificate but quickly withdrew his signature. Why the back and forth, mister? Or is Mr. Hartfield right about the baby not being his? Are his suspicions valid?
My wife, I love her. God knows I do. During the time that Dominique and I met, I had my own place.
He was still living with me. I didn't know he had his own place.
Wait a minute, I don't need her support. I don't need your support. I don't need her support. Please sit her down. Please sit her down.
Wait a minute.
Sit her down.
Hold on.
You can't put me out.
Hold on, mister.
I got my own place.
Whoa, now I didn't see that coming. Mr. Hartfield just proved to the entire court that he is two-faced. He expresses his love for his wife, and seconds later, he disrespectfully asks her to sit down and shut up because she isn't corroborating his story. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is baby Caleb
together.
I
did that last week, actually.
Also,
something else.
Baby, sit down, please. You ain't got nothing to do with this.
I sure don't have anything to do with it.
I wish
Pick your lie.
Why are you here?
Because you asked me to be here.
Mr. Hartfield, I'm gonna let you pipe down just a little bit because your tone,
yes, ma'am,
while you talking to your wife,
yes, ma'am,
is making me edgy.
I understand.
If he's acting this way in court, heaven knows how nasty he acts outside. Did he really think his wife was going to stand there and support him after he cheated and lied to her? Wow, and it gets even worse.
And I didn't need it, and I didn't ask for it.
I want a divorce if I can get one.
We good. I'm good with that. Not a problem.
You're classic.
Thank you.
You're classic. You really are.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward.
You mean Mrs. Hartfield is wife number 7? Guess we found ourselves a Mr. Evelyn Hugo. And what's with the clapping? This has to be one of the most arrogant men to appear in paternity court.
Mr. Hartfield, you may be one of the most disappointing men I've ever seen in this courtroom.
Thank you.
You are really, the clapping, I mean, what a disgrace.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, you really should be so ashamed.
It doesn't bother me.
I know, I can tell.
It's only been minutes, and Judge Lauren is tired of Mr. Hartfield. Now imagine how the two women have dealt with him for so long. Indeed, they need to run when they can.
You're clapping for your own idiocy.
I mean, you know.
And I love that.
Thank you.
I'm always hopeful for the spirit of an individual, and I try to see the good in everyone.
Right.
I don't think I've ever said this in this courtroom before, Jerome, but I pray he's not this child's father.
All right, you can just help me. I'll be cool with that.
Quiet!
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sick of your little nonsense mouth running.
Yes, Your Honor.
You a tall glass of nothing.
Well, let's see if Judge Lauren gets the result she wants, because this is one really thorny issue. Hang on tight, because the results that Judge Lauren is about to read out could blow you away.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay, that's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
Standing between two women in a courtroom.
I can't teach him how to be nothing but myself now. If she wanted to one of the other guys, that's fine too. I don't care.
Ms. Huet slept with two men on the day she conceived her 2-year-old son, Bentley, but she believes he is Mr. Crisp's son. On the other hand, Mr. Crisp isn't as certain as she is because Ms. Huet is a serial cheat.
Ms. Huet, you admit that you slept with another man on the very same day you believe you conceived the son you have with Mr. Crisp.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Huet has cheated on Mr. Crisp more than 10 times in the course of their relationship. How does she expect him to believe the child is his? Apart from that, she did sleep with two men on the day she conceived, so the doubt's pretty strong.
It wasn't okay, but I mean, at least I told the truth that I told him as soon as I cheated on him. I told him 3 hours later. I told him 3 hours later
That still don't give you no right to cheat on me.
She started cheating because she felt isolated and unloved. But Mr. Crisp says he was unavailable because he couldn't process the death of his father and was trying to drown it with partying and all. Cheating isn't the solution to a partner's unavailability.
You got blonde hair, blue eyes.
He looks just like
He
me,
looks like
though.
Dennis the Menace.
So handsome.
Plus, she told me he's cheated on me. I've had friends tell me.
So
how can I not have a doubt that he's mine?
They are both in the wrong. Mr. Crisp shouldn't have left her alone for a long time, partying and whatnot, and Ms. Huet shouldn't have slept with every available person because her partner wasn't around.
But ultimately, you ended up having a sexual relationship with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Around the time your son was conceived.
Yes, Your Honor.
How soon after that were you also intimate with Mr. Crisp?
Within a 12 to 24-hour period.
First, we have to talk about Ms. Hewlett's nonchalant stance. That lady looks like she doesn't care. Secondly, how do you sleep with 10 men within your window of conception? This is a woman who has 2 kids with a man she's in a committed relationship with. Well, I guess they weren't so committed.
Has Ms. Huet always told you you were Bentley's father, or has she ever
She
told
has told me that I wasn't before.
Oh, she has.
We've gotten in a fight before, and she says, well, you just need to go on because you're not really his father anyways.
They already have 2 kids together. Throwing it in his face that he isn't the father of the third one couldn't have been nice. Ms. Huet shot herself in the leg by saying that to him. Well, let's find out more.
At times I do. 3 months after I found out I was pregnant.
Did he have blonde hair? Did he have some of the features that you see in your son?
Yes, Your Honor. His sister says that Bentley looks just like his baby pictures.
It's scary at this point because Bentley looks more like the other potential father than he looks like Mr. Crisp. However, this man is deceased. Then there's Mr. Crisp, who's grown attached to the boy. What's going to happen if it turns out he's not Mr. Crisp's son?
He really doesn't look like Joe, but I hope he is Joe's, because that way I made the mistake of Paula's dad could be 3 different men.
It's devastating to see how kids are affected by their parents and their upbringing, and how things that shouldn't be passed down are passed down from one generation to another. Ms. Hewlett's mom has been in the same situation as her daughter, confused about Ms. Hewlett's paternity. This is not a convenient situation to be in, trust me.
What I see now is 2 adults here that can't figure out how to be in a healthy relationship, have no clue what commitment means, but ultimately it's the children that are suffering.
The couple could go on and on complaining about how one cheats and the other is never around. But that's not going to solve anything. They need to solve their individual issues and either work on the relationship or break up, because that seems like a healthier choice.
Find this out, get this, over with so
You indicated that you do want Bentley to be your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor. And I was going to, get married to her and just settle down.
Of course, now he has the perfect plan. He wants to marry Ms. Huet, find a job, and do his part in raising the kids. He's suddenly to be a better partner and dad just because of a few words from the judge. It's easier said than done, Mr. Crisp. It takes intentionality to make it work.
To get along, to take care of our kids and raise our family. I don't want us to suffer anymore. We've suffered a lot. I about lost him. I about lost my life. I mean, I do need his help. If he wants to be there, I need his help.
Will Ms. Hewlett and Mr. Crisp get a chance at the perfect family they want to build? Let's hear what the DNA results say. And hang on to your seats, guys, because you will not believe what this result is.
Mr. Crisp, you are his father.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.